Welcome all to the New Dream Podcast. I'm Sarah Grady, and as Bryce Savage's song states, I'm a Pisces with no fake love here. My soul felt deeply called to create the New Dream movement of unconditional love and support for all, so here we are. Whether you're here for the stories, engaging authentic conversations, to discover new tools to create change in your life, or just the unconditional love and support that's felt, know that you are beyond welcomed. Take what fits for you, leave the rest, because life is yours to live and your heart will know the way. Let's get started creating our new dreams. Today's conversation puts the spotlight on mindset coach Ben Taylor. Ben helps healers and coaches dissolve limiting beliefs, fears, and false stories to access their beautiful gifts waiting inside. Listen in while Ben shares his journey with breathwork and how it's changed his life. Enjoy. All right, so welcome. I'm so
Thank you.
excited to have you on. I'll introduce you. I know that your name's Ben Taylor, but
Correct.
we haven't met. We just met, yesterday?
Yeah. We met on Facebook yesterday. Yeah.
Yep. So tell me and our viewers a little about yourself.
Okay. Where do I start? So at the moment, I'm transitioning into my absolute dream career, which is mindset coaching. I've been running a breathwork facilitator business for a little while now, like probably a year now, which has been incredible. And I've absolutely loved the whole breathwork thing. As soon as I got into it, my whole life changed. But yeah, we can get into that shortly. But yeah, like
I could
just
feel
sort
your
of,
energy change as soon as you said it. I was like, oh, this gets him excited.
yeah, it does. Yeah, it really lights me up. Breathwork has been just such a beautiful healing for me. And yeah, I don't know, I just love it. But I love to be able to offer that for clients as well, because it's just such a beautiful reconnection to your true authentic self.
Right. So where are you based out of?
I'm in Melbourne, but
Okay.
I work via Zoom. So yeah, mostly through Instagram, my clients will find me. But
I
yeah,
did check out a couple of your videos and I was like, this guy has some great energy.
yeah, cool. Oh, that's good feedback.
So
Um,
what was it like? I guess how I want to ask this is like, what caused you to need to find breath work? So like, who were you in a younger self?
yeah. Um, Look, I think like growing up, I always felt like I was from like a typical kind of loving family, and like I was just so unaware of trauma and the impacts of trauma. And yeah, I think like coming into my adult life, I'd sort of, I'd experimented with becoming a personal trainer for a little bit. This was after being a mechanic for like 13 odd years or something, being stuck in a workshop. Like that was really constricting for me, and I felt like a hell of a lot of depression and anxiety around that situation that I was in. So I didn't even really want to run my own business, but through the PT course that I did, I was taught about business. And like at the time, I was like, no, I don't want to run my own business. There was a lot of fear around that. But yeah, like I sort of eventually ended up running my own business, and there was just so much fear and anxiety and stuff that I dealt with. But it was also at the same time really liberating. I learned so much about myself, and also learned, I think, like the beginning stages of learning about business, and yeah, just how liberating that business can be, for actually you owning your life and being forced to step up and actually meet, whatever your desire is, whether it's business or anything. Like if you're running your own business, you're forced to step up and actually meet some of those fears and try to deal with them. But yeah, like moving forwards, it was just like I dealt with so much social anxiety through my 20s,
Mhm.
and I dealt with that through drinking and partying, and like with partying and that scene comes drugs as well. So I was getting into drugs and really just making a mess of myself. And um, like at the time, this was the best way that I knew to actually to cope with what I was feeling and going through. Um, yeah, like just thinking back, I don't even think I had the awareness to really know why I enjoyed going out taking drugs and drinking copious
Mhm.
amounts and waking up and ruining the whole week with a hangover. And um, yeah, I think like it got to a point where it sort of was getting a little bit out of hand. So
Yep.
um, through like it was lucky that I was interested in fitness and health, and that I was running my own PT business at the time, because I had a mentor who was more into health. So that kind of got me a little bit more into health and actually taking care of myself. So that pulled me away from alcohol and drugs a little bit, which was amazing. That was a real gift to have that mentor. And then like coming into my 30s and becoming a father as well. Um, like I stopped drinking long before my boys came around. But yeah, I think COVID, that whole thing, it really, it changed a lot of things for everyone, I think. But um, yeah, myself, like, I mean, it's such a long conversation itself, just that whole situation. But yeah, it caused a lot of growth for me, painful growth, which was awesome. But a lot of realizations about who I've been and where I'm going, and wanting to be, a beautiful father that I perhaps maybe didn't have growing up. So, I really started getting into the spiritual growth, and my partner ended up buying me a ticket for a breathwork event. And yeah, that was life changing for me. That first breathwork event. Yeah. Do you want me
How
to go
long
into
ag-
the event?
how long ago was that?
Oh, geez. It was probably like maybe a year and a half. So
Okay.
really, not even that long ago. Um,
So
but yeah,
it sounds like you've just been like, I love how your journey has like followed, like it's taken you exactly where you needed to go each step of the way. Like you went so far with surviving, with your coping mechanisms of the partying and the alcohol and the drugs. And so many people can relate to that because when life gets to be too much, that is what we tend to turn to, or even, food. A lot of things can be, you know, a coping mechanism if used in the wrong way. And
100%.
then you find the mentor that kind of pushes you to like pivot, and it just keeps on moving in this like synchronicity way. And I love that. It sounds beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. I think also what really pushed me into start looking after my health was my brother passed away. It was probably like 6 years ago now, and he was really sick for many years. Yeah, and like after him passing, I started experimenting with float tanks.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, so a float tank is basically it's um, like a small spa, I suppose, with a lid, and it's full of like highly salty water. Um, and basically, it's so salty that you can just float on top of the water, and
Okay.
the water is like set to your body temperature. So the idea is once you start floating and the lid comes down, there's no light, there's no sensation in the body. Like you can't really feel your body. You're basically you're weightless in the water. Um, and yeah, so there's you can't really see anything, you can't really feel anything except for your heart beating, and you're like stuck in there with your mind.
Sounds
Um,
petrifying, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
But
yeah. To be honest, yeah, yeah.
water is a fear of mine.
Yeah, like the water, I mean, it's only like a foot deep or something. Like it's
Okay,
just
okay.
enough for you to float in. And I mean the door is right there. Like most float tanks, they're like a little pod, so only just big enough for you.
Hmm.
Um, the first one that I experienced was actually a double size, like for two people, like a small room with a very small door. And there was a couple of times through like some of my first sessions where once all the lights go off, yeah, you're faced with fear and fear of like losing yourself, fear of getting stuck in there. And
Right.
I think this was probably one of the first times in my life that I'd actually ever really been forced to feel what was there.
Hmm.
And like I said, it was after my brother passed, so it was a real gift, I think, actually, when I don't even know what caused me to want to do it. I think probably my partner talked me into it, but um, yeah, I just was able to feel the grief that was there and
Hmm.
really process that without distractions, because I think that's such a problem in our society. Is like we've got so many distractions. There's phones and TVs and busy lifestyles and um, yeah, to actually lay in a room and not feel and not see anything and just be left with your mind and what's actually in your body. Yeah, it's a real interesting experience.
I think I need to find me a float tank.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny because you said COVID was like a really big like push forward for you too. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that because I know
Yeah,
that was like where my biggest spiritual awakenings kind of manifested themselves because we all were forced to stop for a minute. Like we didn't have the hustle bustle and we have to be here and we have to do all the things because it all just shut down.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
it was awful, but at the same time, like I feel like a lot of us got a lot of gifts in that too.
Yeah, yeah, you're so right. Um, Looking back now, like even looking back at any of the most painful points of my life, it was it was such a gift.
Hmm.
Life happens, it really does happen for you. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen against you, but so many people hold that belief that things are happening to me. And
Hmm.
yeah, I even just worked with a client this morning that was stuck in that sort of mindset. So breaking someone free from that mindset of things are happening to me is really empowering. All of a sudden, you step into your power and you
Yeah.
can take your life um, by the horns, however that saying goes. Take the bull by the horns, and actually take your power back.
Right. And it's so hard to like explain it, I've found. Like I use that statement a lot, life is
Mm,
happening for me, not to me. And so many people just don't understand, but it is empowering. I get to choose how my
yeah,
life is. Like obviously things happen around me, but I have the choice in how I respond and how I can let those things affect me.
yeah,
But a lot of people are so stuck in survival that it's hard to break out of that, it's just overwhelming.
yeah,
So I get
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, and like I was exactly that through my 20s and 30s, like very early 30s. Like I mean, I'm only what 36 now, but um, yeah, like even into my early 30s, I was really feeling the victim of my life, and
Yep.
yeah, there's the things that actually cause that are like the emotional wounds and traumas and our upbringing and yeah, like it's totally understandable. I think having the awareness that like if you are stuck in that mindset of like things are just happening to me all the time, that you can actually move through that. So you have to start in that, and then you evolve through it
Yes.
um, to the understanding that life happens for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I know in my case, it was very much I never so I'm 35, and when everything started like changing, my mindset started changing. I was right around 31. And I don't think I had ever really seen myself as an adult
Mm.
until like 31. And it's weird to
Yeah.
say that because like I had a kid at 18. I was doing all the adult things, but that was when I first had that realization like I can hop in my car and drive to Florida if I wanted to, and no one could
Mm.
stop me.
Yeah.
But we're so stuck in this like survival mentality of like we have to do it the way our parents told us to do it. And I feel like there's so many of us that that way of being just doesn't work. Like we're
Yeah.
meant to do things differently, and we're meant to see things differently. And it's almost like, well, I can't step out of that because if I do, then what does that even look like?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I completely resonate with your message here.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And
So,
like,
oh,
I
go
was just
ahead.
gonna, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, when you were speaking earlier about stepping into your power, like, I even felt my energy expand just you talking about that. Like, I think that it's so empowering for not only yourself but everyone around you when you actually step into your power and you take control of your life.
It really is. When we can do the work for ourselves, it really does like radiate to the people that are around us.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that with my kids. Like, I don't know if that's the same for you, but me stepping into my power has greatly changed my kids' lives. And I'm just grateful for that, even.
Yeah, yeah. We're in a really interesting time where our parents didn't really get that opportunity. And like,
Yep.
even today, my parents are still stuck in that victim mindset. Like, I'm a mindset coach and I try to help my mum and my dad because, I can see how having a mindset like that and having the traumas can actually affect you. But yeah, we have so much more available to us now.
Mhm.
And going through like when you go through your own healing, you're not just healing yourself, like as you just mentioned, like
Yep.
you're healing generational trauma,
Yep.
um, and it really does affect your kids. And you think about several generations ahead of us, how much your own healing work will impact that. Like, it's ever expanding and ever evolving.
I love that. Like, I got chills. Just heal all the generations. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like, you have the power. Like, that family stories, they can stop with you, you
Yep.
know. It's
Well, and
really
it's got to stop somewhere. And
yeah.
let me tell you, like it is not for the weak. It,
Yeah.
it can be exhausting, and but on the other side of it, it's so worth it.
Mm,
And it's so freeing, and just the mental freedom that you
mm,
get is just like, oh, I get to live this life. Like, I don't know how many times I've said that over the last 2 weeks. Like, I get to live this life, and I truly mean it. And I wouldn't have not too long ago.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You're so right. That's beautiful.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, just like, sort of going back to the question you asked a little while ago, ages ago, we kind of got off track. But yeah, like, what actually made me get into the healing in the first place was, I think it was a natural curiosity that I wanted to keep learning, and I really loved health and fitness, and naturally that got into. Well, I started listening to a podcast actually close to the time when my brother passed. There's a podcast from Paul Chek, if anyone knows Paul Chek. He's like a holistic, I don't even know how you describe him, like a spiritual teacher, mentor. But he was probably the first male that I ever really came across, that was talking about things that I really resonated with, and that was all to do with fitness, health, spirituality. And I really started learning all the spirituality stuff through Paul Chek. I ended up doing a holistic lifestyle coach with his institute online, which was amazing, and that definitely evolved me as well. But yeah, just that natural evolution of me actually digging into these concepts and wanting to experience more from life. Wanting to do better in my business and wanting to be a better dad. And I tell you, when I went to this breathwork event, was hosted by a guy here in Australia he's quite well known in the breathwork kind of world, Tim Morrison. He came down to Melbourne and did an event here, like I explained earlier, and me and my partner went, and I didn't even know what to expect. Like I had experienced Wim Hof breathing, like I used to do that sort of every now and then in the mornings, which is only just like a 5-minute practice, and I always enjoyed that. But going into this event, I kind of thought, like, I don't know, like I was really scared, to be honest. I was really nervous about stepping in there. And then actually walking through the doors and stepping in and like walking through a cloud of like whatever they were burning, sage. I think it was blue sage or something. I didn't even know what that was at the time, but walking through this sacred space that Tim had set up, it was just like I felt home.
I love that.
Yeah, and I'm even getting emotional thinking about that because I really feel like that was me walking from my old self into my new self. And yeah, just starting that breathwork ceremony for the first time since I was a kid, like a child, I was able to feel the sadness that I had suppressed my whole life and the anger that I had to all the people that bullied me and my stepdad and my brother, and like all of the anger, all the sadness, everything came to the surface for me to feel and to move through. And I mean, obviously, like it wasn't all healed in one session, but
Right.
a lot of rage came up, and these had been emotions that I'd really learnt throughout my life to not feel safe expressing.
Right.
And this was all unconscious at the unconscious level. So, what that sort of looked like for me was even with my brother's passing, whenever I would get sadness bubbling up, I'd feel it coming up, and then my body like just switched off, went into a freeze state where I dissociate from all my feelings and basically just go numb. So that's kind of like my nervous system. It learnt over my life that that's the safest way to deal with emotions is to shut off.
Right.
But breath work, it allows you to drop past all of those protections, the ego. It drops past that monkey mind, and it allows you to drop into your emotions and your feelings and where all the memories live, and allows you to actually feel it in order to heal it.
That's very interesting because my husband and we talk a lot about like the masculine energy and trying to understand each other like on a deeper level, because obviously like the way I respond to certain things, he responds in a completely different way based off of like how he was raised and how the world made him feel safe.
Mm.
And that was a big one, is he like never emotionally felt safe enough to express emotion, so he still has a lot of stuff like built up, and he's trying to do a lot of healing himself. But he's like, I will try to cry, like I can feel it sit there, but it will not come out. Like his
Yeah.
body like refuses to let him. Do you think that breath work would actually help like break that barrier, so to speak, to allow those emotions to come out in that way?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
And what I'm finding with like clients that I work with, even males, especially, like we're conditioned from a very young age to man up and
Right.
you know, um, we're taught all these really destructive, toxic things just to try and, um, and like as a child, you want to be loved, right? So
Yep.
you learn these things off a father figure, and you don't really have a choice in learning that until you're an adult. But yeah, 100%. Like so many guys find it incredibly difficult to express emotions, um, and a lot of it comes from um, that conditioning from a child. And sometimes, like, some people will ask me, like, how come I didn't cry during that session, or how come I didn't express anything? Well, it's because that session was more for you. It was more about connecting with your body and beginning to create the space for your nervous system to be able to express certain emotions and feelings. So, like, everyone's at such different, unique starting points on their journey, and for
Right.
some people, just connecting to their body is something they've never done ever. So, yeah, it's not a complete waste at all if you go through a breathwork session and there's no tears or emotion, because you're still sort of retraining that nervous system to be able to handle more.
Right.
So yeah, like sometimes it's about just um, learning to connect with the body and connect with the feelings and what's there.
So kind of like they tell you, like if you start taking vitamins, you can't expect it to work overnight. Like you have to consistently do it for, a certain amount of time before you can really take a look and say, okay, this isn't working for me anymore.
Yeah, yeah, similar. Breathwork it can be so incredibly powerful, and even one session, like that first event that I went to, um, like although I had a lot of rage that came up, but I was suppressing it as well,
Hmm.
because I was very scared of it. But even through that, like me suppressing it, I was still beginning to feel it,
Right.
and coming out of that event, even though I hadn't fully released rage and sadness or anything, um, I still walked out of there feeling like someone had just taken a heavy blanket off me, and
Okay.
knowing, like having this knowing that this was something incredibly special that I have to explore more.
Right.
So it probably
So
took, yeah, I
go
was just
ahead.
going to say it probably took, like, for me to really start experiencing that freedom. Um, it probably only took like another two breathwork sessions. And then, like, my business name, Connect with Freedom, that's where it all came from. Is like I want to help people connect with their own freedom.
So you pivoted from like the fitness level to, oh, I want to take this further.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hadn't been a PT the whole time. Actually, yeah, sort of going back to the COVID thing, I was working as an electrician, working for
Mm.
someone, and yeah, I didn't really want to take that jibby jab, so I lost my job, and it was lucky because at the time I had already begun setting up my own business as an electrician,
Mhm.
so I had that to fall back on, which was really incredibly lucky. And I was able to keep putting food on the table and keeping a roof over my family's head. So yeah,
It's amazing, like what we can do when we have to pivot. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's like the universe, when we're not moving, the universe is going to make us move in the most profound way. And it always works out, it seems like.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and like going back to what we were talking about earlier about having that mindset of life happening for you. It's things can be really painful in the moment, but looking back now, like without that whole COVID thing happening, like I wouldn't be where I am today, and I'm in love with my
Right.
life today. So
Right. See, and I love that message
Mm,
because I truly believe that we should look at like the things that go on in our life. And yes, we can honor the fact that these things were painful and they were tragic and they were awful. But when we sit in just that part of it, we're not allowing space for the good too. Like, and
yeah,
I feel like when we can honor the good and release the stuff that caused us to get there, like that's where the true growth can come from. And
yeah,
I love that that's what you found.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
So, can you explain a little bit more about like what is breath work?
yeah. Um, I mean, there's hundreds of styles of breath work, and it's not a new thing, although it's becoming very popular now. It's
Hmm.
actually quite an ancient art. Um, so, or medicine, should I say? That's probably a better term for it. So, it's a therapeutic. The style that I do is a therapeutic style, which enables you to drop past that ego protection, and to fall into your feelings, to be able to feel um, what you may have been suppressing for your whole life. So if that's like traumas, what we talk about in the trauma kind of world is like big T and small T traumas. So big T traumas would be the obvious kind of traumas, which is like wars and car accidents, sexual abuse, and then you have your small T traumas, which are more um, like things that happen to you, say as a child, being told to shut up every single day.
Mm,
Being you basically are conditioned over a long period of time, although it wasn't perhaps necessarily a violent like episode or something like a singular um, event that's happened to you. It's more like a small like little bits every single day. So being told um, to shush every day, or going to school as a kid and being bullied every single day. You learn over time um, that you have to remain small, and that your voice isn't appreciated or heard, or whatever the story might be. So that's like small T trauma, but yeah, being able to actually go into dropping past, as I said, dropping past that protection zone, the ego, which is there to protect you at all costs, even from emotions that are deemed unsafe to feel.
hmm.
And yeah, sort of being able to feel what's in the body, because from my understanding, traumas are held in the body, in the fascia around organs and things like that, and they cause all sorts of dis-ease in the body. So being able to express things, and like even like I was explaining, if you were told to be quiet a lot as a child, and you as an adult you're like someone who can't really express themselves,
Hmm.
um, being able to actually express uh, emotions like sadness or something like that out loud can be incredibly healing for people on so many different levels. So yeah, it's a real incredible healing modality, and it really is a medicine.
Right.
Um, and you can also like because we go into altered states of consciousness, um, you can connect with guides, other beings, um, spirit. Like if there's messages and things for you from loved ones who may have passed. Like there's all sorts of experiences that you can have in these altered states of consciousness.
Through breath work.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
it's almost comparable to like meditation, but like a different form of it.
yeah. It's a much deeper level. It's probably more comparable to plant medicine,
Okay, okay.
but perhaps not quite as what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe not quite as like hallucinogenic.
Right.
Yeah,
Which would be more up my alley because I'm afraid of that.
yeah,
I'm afraid of what
yeah,
I'll see.
yeah. Yeah.
and not being able to stop it. Like I wouldn't be in control of like, I'm not like, this is too far. We need
Yeah.
to stop right here.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I've experienced similar things, even just with marijuana as a child, not a child, sorry, a teenager in my late
Hmm.
teens, trying marijuana and having a terrible, terrible freak out, and just being so scared about losing that control, and like that was
Yep.
through a mild drug, But
Same.
yeah,
I did it one time and was like, nope, we're done.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
But
completely get it.
yeah, but I think that's the beautiful thing with plant medicines is like even looking at both of our experience there, it's highlighting exactly what it's mirroring back to you what your challenges are,
Yeah.
and so that's around like control, like needing to have control, and absolutely that resonated with me as a kid, in my teens, like trying to gain control, like that was a big thing for me, not feeling out of control my whole life, and
Yeah.
yeah, if I was any wiser, I probably could have used marijuana to actually heal me as opposed to just blow my mind out.
Right. But there was nobody talked about this when we were kids. You
Yeah,
know, like the knowledge that we have now truly is a gift because we get to have these conversations and actually hear about the experiences. And even though not everyone enjoys when we have them, like I know in my instance, some of my family members are like, we're not talking about this. That was the past.
yeah,
Well, the past has an effect on us, and my reality can coincide with your reality. And it's funny because I always talk about like there's me, there's you, and then there's we. Like there's my experience, your experience, and then our experience.
yeah,
And they're not going to look identical all across the board. And we should get to share those. But as a kid, you weren't allowed to. You just had to be quiet and listen and do as you're told. And I get it. They're trying to keep us safe.
mm,
And they didn't know how to deal with emotions. How were they
yeah,
supposed to help us?
yeah, exactly. But
Like,
do you know, like looking at that mindset of life happens for you, like even through experiences like that, pain. This is my favorite thing to say to clients, but pain is a creator of consciousness. So
okay.
if you think about like if you've ever walked past the couch in your house or something and you stub your toe on the corner of it,
Hmm.
all of a sudden you're very, very aware of your toe and of the corner of the couch.
You're darn
Um,
right you are.
yeah, and so that awareness, that consciousness expands. Um, and this works the same with emotional wounding, emotional pain. Like it's like when we're going down a bit of a rabbit hole a little bit, but like going into disease and the reasons why people get disease, like, you don't just grow cancer overnight. You don't just wake up one day and then you've got cancer. It's a process that takes 10, 15 years,
Hmm.
and because we're so disconnected from our bodies and the messages that our body is sending,
Hmm.
um, that it takes a certain amount of pain for people to actually wake up and to change their ways.
Yep.
So
And
yeah,
that's if they want to see how much that pain is.
yeah,
And
yeah.
in your experience, have you noticed that like how much pain that they will tolerate is directly related to how they feel about themselves? Like how much, I don't like to use this term loosely, but like how much abuse you will give yourself is what you will tolerate from other people. Cause I know that was
Mhm.
mine. Like I would take mental abuse all day for a long time. But as
Yeah.
soon as you brought the physical into it, even way back when, it was like, nope, we're done. I'm walking away.
Mm.
But the mental stuff, like I had no problem letting someone tell me a lot of things that I should have been like, this is a boundary. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that in a lot of people around me. Like if we do not love ourselves and we are going to tolerate giving ourselves this negativity and we don't feel that joy inside of who we are, then we're going
Mm.
to see the same thing around us.
Yeah, 100%.
So I love the idea of using breath work to start feeling those emotions, to unlock them, so then that way you have the space to be able to allow love to come back in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and so true.
Yeah, I love that. So now do
Yeah.
you do breath work over Zoom calls and like different things with that?
Yeah, I mostly do Zoom now.
Okay.
I still offer sort of in-person stuff just for a select few, but find it's a bit difficult, like having two young boys and having
Right.
clients coming through really often can be a bit disruptive to the family.
Right.
Um, so yeah, mostly offer it through Zoom.
Okay.
And yeah, it really is, if I can put it into a sentence, it's a journey back to yourself.
Mm, I love that.
Um, yeah, it's a journey back home. So, what disconnects us from ourselves and from what disconnects us from home is the wounds and the traumas and the conditioning, all the stories that you've adopted through your whole life that tell you that you should do this or should do that, like all the judgments.
My
Um,
favorite saying is don't shit on yourself.
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, it really is a beautiful journey back to yourself, and I do this now for people because like I've had so much healing through it. I've released a lot, and um, I just you know yeah I'm just lost for words. Even it's
I
just
can feel it.
it's such a powerful powerful healing. And when you do connect back with your inner child or your inner teenager, it's just an incredibly emotional thing. Like, I mean, my own journey with that, connecting back to the inner child through breath work. um, yeah, like there was some memories, traumatic things, that you know when I initially first started doing breath work and those memories first started coming up, I could see the pain on my face as a child. And then it was like probably the next breathwork session that I did, I revisited that memory, and there was a smile on my face as a child. So just knowing, like having this inner knowing that memory is like healed, that part of me. Um,
Right.
and
Now, do you find that your clients always see visualizations during it, or is it like all across the board? Like some just do the feeling and they can feel the lightness, or do a lot of them like actually go back to their past memories and rewire them in their brain?
yeah, it's a good question. I think I don't think I've ever had. Sorry if anyone can hear the aeroplane flying overhead. I don't think I've ever had anyone not see anything,
Okay.
because, like, if you closed your eyes, even now, you can imagine things. Your mind you just think of things, and you can kind of see
Mhm.
that visual. Some people are more visual. Some people are more kinesthetic. So in their feelings, they might feel things more. But
Mhm.
I think like everyone mostly dreams.
Right.
So um, yeah, I think like yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure what the question was. I lost where I
No
was going
worries.
there.
Well, the
Yeah.
reason I asked is because I know that when I'm working with others, a lot of it is they don't want to experience like their past memories. Like those past memories are truly like debilitating and they're
Yeah.
so shut off because they were so big for them. So I
Mm.
just wondered like if if some do like not have to like actually experience them over again to rewire them. So for those
Yeah.
that have that fear, they can maybe have that sense of knowing like I will be safe moving through it.
Mm.
and they would be more apt to feel a little safer walking in to actually give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really good point. Definitely something that, yeah, people have been expressed their worry about as well to me before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important to remember that your body has an innate intelligence, a
Mm-hmm.
wisdom that is far greater than any of us could imagine. Um,
Absolutely.
and your nervous system is wired to keep you safe. And that safety is, like I was saying earlier, that can even be safety from certain emotions that you may have been conditioned to believe aren't safe to feel. So your body will really only bring up what it's ready to handle.
Mm-hmm.
The beautiful thing is that, like, you don't necessarily, like, say with talk therapy or psychology or something, um, like that's what's called the top down approach, and that is like talking about your problems, and you have to go over the memories, or like if there's sexual abuse, like obviously you don't want to revisit that, you don't want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about that. um, but yeah, going for these somatic therapies like the bottom up approach, the beautiful thing is you don't have to talk about it. And I mean, you can't really control if you have a memory that comes up or not.
Mm-hmm.
However, like you can deal with things through breath work, or heal things without necessarily revisiting that memory. Do
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I talk about having visuals and stuff. You don't always have visuals. There's been breathwork sessions before where it's just been me curled up in a ball crying, and not necessarily knowing where that's even come from.
Okay.
The visuals that I get, I kind of piece together afterwards. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you see stuff. Sometimes you see, like I've had um, a blue being come to me before, and not even knowing what the heck it was, or understanding why it was there or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and actually, in like if I think back to the memory now of actually going through that memory, it was really just a face. And like it's only afterwards where I've pieced together that was perhaps some sort of um, yeah, some sort of guide, or
Right.
someone that's actually come to me to perhaps offer healing or protection or guidance. So yeah, I think like you can absolutely deal with things that you have suppressed, that you don't necessarily have to revisit. You don't have to talk about it. You can just feel
Right.
what's in the body, allow it to process through. Sometimes you can get a memory attached to that, but not always.
That better explains it for me, just because
Yeah.
like there are a lot of people that don't. See, now I'm the type that would need to talk. I
Mm,
talked my way through a lot of my stuff.
mm,
So it it would be it's helpful knowing that there's another modality of healing where you can try this, but you don't
mm.
have to talk about it. You don't have to put anything to words. You can just allow yourself to feel and feel safe in someone else's presence, and you know that you're not actually there because you know that you're sitting, in a chair or laying somewhere, like you know that you're safe,
Yeah,
and being able to feel your way through it.
yeah,
So I
100%.
I like that.
Yeah, and as a facilitator, that's my role, is to ensure that that the client is safe.
Mhm.
Um, and because like sometimes um, I haven't even really experienced this with any clients before, but we were always taught that sometimes a client can get stuck in that emotion, because
Mhm.
like when you're perhaps for the first time since you're a child, if you're fully expressing sadness or whatever, like you're really wailing,
Mhm.
it can feel quite good. And even anger, like it can feel really, really empowering to feel that and allow that energy to move through.
Right.
And sometimes the client can possibly get stuck in that, where they'll just cry and cry and cry and cry. So having a facilitator there that understands the waves, the natural waves that the nervous system goes through. And, if someone is looking like they're maybe getting stuck in an emotion, it would be my job then to bring them back to their body and allow them to just let go of that and let the natural cycles of the nervous system kind of come back up and down.
So you definitely recommend, like, if you're looking into doing some breath work, maybe go to somebody if you've got some like deep rooted emotions you need to release, like go to someone safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, someone that you
Okay.
resonate with. Like,
Right.
yeah, we all resonate with different people. Like some may really resonate with what I'm saying, and some may not. So there's
Right.
plenty of breathwork facilitators out there, and more often than not, they've all been through a traumatic life, which has led them to actually wanting to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So more often than not, they understand emotions and understand people being in pain, and um, uh, hold incredible compassion and love for people. Um, so yeah, absolutely. Like even just thinking back to some of the first breathwork events that I went to, I think there was once where I attempted to like sort of do it for myself, come home and like lay on the floor and just try to do what I was sort of doing at these events. But I sort of stopped within 5 minutes because I didn't really know what I was doing, and yeah, all I was kind of doing was just making myself dizzy and not really having any understanding of the nervous system or anything like that. But yeah, yeah.
That's a really good lesson because like I'm a self learner. I do a lot of things by watching other people or taking free trainings or like I've done so many things by trying to learn through others, but I have to do in order to learn. So
Mm.
that's a really good reminder for people like me that there are certain things out there that you should have a teacher for, at least in the beginning,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
to
And I
get the
think,
best benefit.
yeah, the other thing to understand is that, um, like, healing happens in community.
Absolutely.
Um, and like for anyone else that's experienced bullying in their life, like I experienced it shocking when I was younger. Um, and so I learnt to be a loner over my time. I learnt to keep away from people because I was nervous around them. I was nervous that something like that might happen again. I might get hurt again. Um, but then going to these events, learning to express emotions out loud, like whilst lying next to or in the middle of a group of people,
Mhm.
um, incredibly, incredibly healing. It's like just a breakthrough in itself to learn that I can express sadness or emotion, like any kind of emotion in front of people and it be okay.
Finding
And
the
that you're,
right people.
yeah, that you're held and that you're safe and
Yeah.
that it's okay.
I love that. That was one of my biggest things. I call myself a recovering codependent people pleaser
Yeah. Yeah.
because that was I was responsible. I made myself responsible for everyone else's emotions around me. And I was
Mm,
responsible for their lives and everything they did because it was easier than trying to
yeah.
live my own. And it's an interesting concept becoming an adult and still taking care of everyone else, not knowing why you're exhausted and you're not
Mm,
happy. But then I am a people person. I love people. I've always been surrounded by people,
mm,
but it was only to like my level of comfort. Like I was only going to let you in so far. And I
yeah.
didn't even have any idea that I was doing it until experiencing different levels of healing and different modalities of growth work. And then you realize, oh, people are meant to be around. Like you can ask for help and it's okay. Someone might
Mm,
say no, but you just have to find the right people, the ones that you connect with and that you vibe with.
yeah.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
so
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna send my husband to you. I
Okay. Yeah.
I think he would benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we all need this medicine on some level. Um, but like there's plenty of different modalities out there as well. So
Hmm.
for some people, breathwork doesn't really resonate. Like I've had
Right.
clients before just want to experience it and didn't really connect with it too much, and that's okay. Like that's just where they're at in their journey. Like sometimes
Right.
we need to experience different things and um, go through different,
Like
like experience different facilitators.
crystal work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Like I have tried kinesiology as well, which I really, really resonate with.
Hmm.
Super powerful. And I've tried a couple of different therapists or kinesiologists as
Okay.
well. So I think it's really natural that you try a modality, um, uh, receive a certain level of healing, um, and then move on. So whether that's just moving, using the same modality but moving on to a different practitioner,
Hmm.
um, or whatever it may be, like that's quite normal. Um, so yeah, because I think like we all resonate differently with different people, and we can get different things from each other. We all have
Hmm.
such a unique gift to offer the world, um,
Absolutely.
and like what you could get from me would be different from what you could get from someone else.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's just about like going where your heart pulls you and experiencing different people and different things in life. Like that's what life's all about,
Hmm.
experiencing.
Well, and remembering that there's no right or wrong. It's
Yeah,
just what you're feeling led to, and you can try it, and if you don't like it,
yeah,
then you can move to something else, and that's truly okay. But we get it stuck in this mindset of, well, I hate this, or I did it once, and like now I'm just not going to do anything because it didn't work for me. Or
yeah,
meditation for me, I did it a few times and was like, well, I'm not feeling anything. This isn't for me. And then I realized, oh wait, I needed to give this a little bit more time.
yeah, yeah. That's a common thing with meditation as well. I find people are like, "Oh no, I can't meditate because when I sit down and try it, I just want to get up and leave."
Yep.
And I'm like, "Well, that's the exact reason why you need to do it is because you can't.
Yep.
Like you need to retrain that monkey mind that it's not in control.
That you don't have to keep moving. Like you can sit still
Yeah,
for a minute.
that's it. Yeah. And like going back to the coping mechanisms, like it's just a coping mechanism. Like the busyness, you get used to having a certain level of busyness in your life, and very rarely we actually give ourselves the opportunity to switch off and like just not have anything happening. Like
Right.
if you're just sitting there reading a book, like you're still sitting there doing something. So yeah, these all distract us from our feelings and what's actually going on in the body. So having some sort of practice like meditation or breath work or whatever it may be that actually brings you back into your body and connects you with your feelings and what's actually going on is super important.
I agree. So where could our viewers connect with you if they are feeling like they are loving your energy and they want to give this a try? Do you offer like different levels of coaching, or like where can they connect with you?
Yeah, probably through Instagram is the easiest. If you
Okay.
just search Connect with Freedom, there's
Okay.
no underscores or dots or anything like that. So yeah, Connect with Freedom, and through there I've got some links. I've got a free masterclass and offer a free strategy session for people who are perhaps going through some stuff in life and need someone to talk to and someone to show them perhaps what they could be. Yeah, I can
I
offer a free
love
strategy
that.
session.
So then
Yeah.
they can try it out before, like, to make sure that you guys truly vibe with one another.
Yeah, the strategy session, it's all about seeing whether, for a start, whether I can actually help them,
Hmm.
whether they connect with me, whether I connect with them. So yeah, it's just like a connection call, really. It's probably a better word for it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. I will make sure to link that stuff
Oh,
in
awesome.
the podcast bio so that way people can definitely reach out to you and get some breath work if they're looking for it. I might hop on myself. I'm
Yeah.
intrigued because like I
Yeah.
like meditation, but I don't know, breathwork sounds like a deeper,
It is.
maybe that deeper level that I need. Because I hear a lot of people talk about, seeing their guides or like being people speaking to them, and my guides speak to me through like my environment, and I
Mm,
just can feel it like in my gut. I just have this inner knowing. Like
mm.
I know which way to go. I just know what the answer is, but I would love to be able to see them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
love to try it
And
out and see what
and
happens.
yeah, sometimes they can come through in different ways too. Like I was explaining before, sometimes people can be more visual.
Hmm.
Sometimes people can be more auditory, or more kinesthetic. So the way that like they will communicate with you is different for everyone. Some people
Hmm.
may get a feeling, like a feeling of love, or like a grandmother's hug. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
like that.
Um, yeah, some people may see stuff. I'm more visual, so I definitely see things more. Some people may hear messages come through, or yeah,
I love that. I'm so intrigued. I can't
yeah,
wait to try it.
yeah.
But is there anything that you want to share that we didn't touch on? Like
Hmm.
I don't want to leave this call ending without you being like, "Dang it, I really wanted to say this." Like my heart tells me I need to say this thing.
Um, I think like if I could have a message for everyone, it's just that like you have your own power and your own unique gift. Um, sometimes like because of life, we can get stuck in that victim mentality, like what we were talking about.
Hmm.
But just to realize that you are an incredibly powerful being, and yeah, just having the knowing that you don't have to remain stuck. Like you're never stuck.
You have a
Uh,
choice.
yes, you always have a choice. There's always people there that can help you. Um, and although sometimes it can feel like you're stuck in life or experiencing things that you just can't see the end of, there's always the next level of evolution, and there's always people there to help you, to help guide you through it. And there's always people that have been through similar stuff as well.
I
And
love that.
yeah, and just going back to the chat about the gift, like we all have a unique gift and a unique perspective on the world, and we all have so much to offer each other. So once you move through all the stuff that's in the way, fears and traumas and things, your beautiful gifts come out and you can share them with the world.
Wholeheartedly agree. And they evolve like daily.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Okay, so one final question. This is something I really enjoy asking because I'm just curious what other people like what their experiences are when they hear different things. So
Hmm.
when you hear the new dream, what does it make you think of?
I think of along the same lines as what I was just explaining. We're never stuck. We're always evolving and going through different phases of life. And the new dream to me sort of symbolizes that new dream or desire that you want to step into. Um, yeah, that's what I think of.
I'm so glad. 'Cause that's exactly what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, beautiful,
Are
beautiful.
you experiencing your new dream? Do you feel like you're heading in that direction?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there already. Yeah, just running my coaching business. It's after I get off the call, every single time I'm overwhelmed with gratitude and joy, to be able to help people on that level. Like it's exactly what I'm meant to be doing. And yeah, I feel really like it is my new dream.
I love that. I thank you so much for like sharing your energy with me and, being the first like live Zoom call for this podcast. Like you're my first on here, and
Yeah,
I talk a lot about how I step into my mess, because we all
mm,
have to start somewhere.
yeah,
And a lot of us get stuck because, well, it doesn't look perfect, or it it doesn't look the way that I want it to. But this
Mm.
was authentic. Like, I had never met you before. We'd never talked. Like, this is the first time we've spoken before. And
Yeah.
I think that this conversation turned out to be a very beautiful one. And I've learned so much. And I just thank you for who you are.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm honored to be here, and yeah, I'm just so grateful that I was able to share my story, and hopefully it's helped someone.
Right. One
Yeah,
person. If it's
yeah,
helped one person, we've done our job, right?
exactly, exactly.
All
Yeah,
right.
but yeah, thank
Thank,
you so much.
thank you. I appreciate you.
Got those pretty eyes.